Mic check. This is a radio check. Radio check. Well, would you look at that? ARL is here before 1 minute past the hour. Absolutely. Melon, absolutely. He hasn't arrived at the final minute with no setup. Only to be first out of the pits. Good evening to you, Respond. You're racing tonight, which is great. We have Mercked, we have Moist, we have Ricky. So we should be on for a good run. So Melon is Bjorn. Fantastic, okay. So it's that time on the stream where our drivers come in and tell us how underprepared they are and how low their expectations are. I'm not saying it's normal or anything, or it's drivers getting in their excuses early. I'm definitely not saying that. Should be some good numbers tonight. Melon, Bjorn, you've been held for review. Not talking about Singapore Grand Prix because some people don't get to watch it live because they're busy commentating. So no comments about that. Thank you. We'll talk in the week. So Melon saying it's a skill issue and I'm coping. Okay. We'll get the countdown shortly for Sprint, followed by a Grand Prix with one-shot quali for both. The ready up seems to have been given. Beyond saying he's got a fine. What your comments have just been hidden for review by the FIA, so we shall see. Respond, not waiting, not ready for this. Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to round 13 of our 16-round championship here at the International Racing League. We are ready for a race around the wonderful Sao Paulo circuit, the Interlagos in Brazil, and we are going straight into one-shot quali, to the surprise of at least one driver who joins us live in the chat. AJ saying he's going to hurt again tonight. As Bjorn says, easy top three. Right, excellent stuff. So, one-shot qualifying for the sprint, followed by one-shot qualifying for the Grand Prix. We have a little break, and then we go into the actual race itself. I'll talk you through the championship standings in a few moments. No surprises at the top. However, last week did prove that Merckx can be beaten on pure pace in a Grand Prix alone. So we're going to get ready for this one. We are ready to go, and 20 seconds on the clock. We'll try our best to stick with the frontmost driver in our grid as we go through. And let's see, as the timer clocks down, it's usually Moist who is the king of the one-shot quali. And Ricky will also be hoping to be up there. Merckx tends to be a little bit of an Achilles heel for him, delivering during one shot, but we shall see. I don't want to... Oh, look at this. We have monsoon weather as well, so that's just going to double the difficulty for our drivers, unfortunately. Let's talk you through then before we get underway. Merckx is heading the championship on 236, and he is 41 points with 3 races to go. However, the final race is a double point special. Ricky Maru is in second on 195. Moist has 138, and the double world champion is now back up to third place in the championship. ARL has 131 in fourth, with Milan on 125. Speedy Spud has 87, Ole 76. Alpha Alex is in 8th with 70. Then a big gap to Leon in 9th with 39. Marco in 10th with 27, who was also getting his excuses in early in the driver chat. He seems to be driving under several influences today. Sticky in 11th on 25 is joint with Floyd Pink, and then Atsu and Davey Norris have 18 each for joint 13th. We have Jaffa Jake in 15th on 12, Dobo on 7, Chuck Norris, the Norris Senior, on 5 points for 17th place. Joint 18th is Triple Bay and Respond on 2 points each, and Urchin has yet to score. I'm hoping we don't have a bit of a situation here with the lobby. We certainly seem to be waiting a fair old while to get underway for one-shot quali. Let's see if we've got time to go through the Constructors' Championship as well. Actually, there's a message in the paddock chat. Was that just... Let's go. It was. Okay. I don't want to miss important messages while I'm doing this. VCARB have 326 at the head of the field, a long way clear of Kick Sauber, who have 254. Aston Martin, reigning champions, have only 165 points in Season 3, with Williams 4th on 132. Haas are 5th on 126, McLaren 6th on 101, with Ferrari 7th on 70. Alpine 8th are joint with Red Bull on 30 points, and Mercedes a long way back, but we don't often field a Mercedes car. As we get underway then for our qualifying session, we're on board with Speedy Spud for the start of the session, and it's just going to be a matter of who is brave into the first corner. Curva 1, as it is originally named. Speedy Spud in 10th position, getting a bit of a snap going through Curva del Sol. And we'll run up the order as we've got ARL up in 4th at the moment, heading into Decido del Lago. Bit of a switch on the steering wheel, bit of an opposite lock moment as Merckx has managed to get himself into 2nd position, but it is indeed Bjorn de Boer for the McLaren team. Mellon indeed on the chat, who is heading through the next Laranjinha corner and into S8. Next up is the tight left-hander before we head in towards Bico di Pato. Moist has retired from the session. Unbelievable. Our most recent new race winner, Moist, retiring from the session in this one-shot quali. It's because I said he was usually the specialist. Losail is the final corner of this circuit as Merckx is managing to just weave his way to find some traction on the way out of the corner. Looks like it's going to be Merckx all the way to the end, although they did look a little bit slow out of Losail, but Merckx is going to take the pole position. Is he on a 1:16.5, 0.2 of a second clear of Bjorn de Boer and Ricky Marou in third position. I wonder if we will get the same kind of conditions for the Grand Prix. Let's wait and see. But Merckx is the fastest driver on the intermediate tyres, ahead of Bjorn de Boer by nearly 0.2 of a second. Ricky Marou 0.8 back in third with ARL, making an all V-carb row 2. Milan brings the Williams to fifth with Triple Bay for Mercedes in sixth. We have Speedy Spud in seventh, Marco in eighth, Respond in ninth, Chuck Norris in 10th, Floyd Pink in 11th, Sticky in 12th, Davy Norris in 13th, and sensationally, the Maestro Moist out of the session down in 14th place, and is really going to hamper, but he'll be super pleased that this sprint session no longer sets the grid for the Grand Prix, and we will have beautiful conditions for the sprint. That de-escalated quickly, didn't it? So we have boiling hot, sharp shadows and glorious sunshine for our sprint race. I suppose they are supposed to be a day apart, aren't they? So we will see how the drivers manage this one, whether we'll go for rain again for one shot for the qualification for the Grand Prix or not. We shall see. But the drivers will certainly need to try and keep it within the white lines and legal for the race. We have no formation lap. It's a very short little sprint here at Interlagos, but I'd love to hear who you think is going to take the W and the big points today from the sprint, and in what order. So we shall be trackside for you very shortly for the start of the race, and I really welcome everybody who is here with us and the 5 legends who've already liked the video today. Really grateful for that, and those of you who join us because you have subscribed and hit the notification bell as well. All helps with the building of the channel and the league. And if you do want to drive in the International Racing League, there are links available through my x.com threads and through Discord as well to get involved, and just make sure you're a clean driver, because while the driver chat room is a brutal place to be with the banter on track, this is one of the best leagues I have had the pleasure of commentating over. Here we go then for the sprint race of the 13th round of our championship. It is a go, go, go for all the drivers. We've got Merckx away nicely straight away from Bjorn de Boer, and everybody playing it pretty calm into turn 1. We've got Ricky Marou in third position and right on the tail as Bjorn de Boer has snuck up the inside through the Curva del Sol. And it looks like he's going to be level here as Ricky is trying to decide which of the 2 drivers to attack on the way into the corner. It is the Mercedes of Triple Bay moving up. We've got a smashed front wing. Certainly some debris flying off one of the cars there. Possibly it might even be ARL who's having another difficult exit out of the corner. Let's check out the tyre situation, shall we? As we look to see, Milan and ARL have chosen the soft tyres. So has Davy Norris, with Strike Moist already up to 10th position. And here comes Triple Bay looking for a cheeky move into the right-hander of Pinerino. Left we go. Excuse me, it's now Mergulo and into the Losail corner already. I told you it would be quick. It's Merckx at the head of the field. It is Bjorn de Boer only 0.3 of a second behind. DRS will be enabled at the cross point of this start-finish line now, and we'll be racing for 11 further laps of the sprint. Merckx with the fastest lap. Bjorn de Boer going for the fake move into the Curva 1, and they head towards the S del Sena. Lots of locking up. The drivers having to navigate the racetrack through those clouds as Ricky Marou has a 3-second time penalty at the early part of the race. So at least he's not breaking our hearts at the end of a race at the moment. But here is Triple Bay fighting with Marco, who is right up for it. Moist, though, with the biggest climb, I suspect, at the start of the race, having moved up 4 positions from the very back of our grid. Milan up past ARL, despite being on a worse tyre at the start of the race. On the same tyre. They have swapped positions, and someone is just locking up nearly every corner as they run through the order. Bjorn de Boer is right on the gearbox of Merckx. It does look like he's going to have an opportunity here. Back to Losail once again, and here we go. We'll get the DRS halfway up the hill on the long drag, flat out, straight out of Losail, all the way to Curve 1. And here he is, looking fantastic on the overspeed. Goes for the inside. This is fairly typical of Merckx, as he doesn't fight too hard once the driver has the DRS, because he knows that the race has plenty to run, and he needs to get distance away from the third and fourth position cars. Ricky Maru is right there with the DRS. A little move from Merckx, but it was just a little notice me in the mirrors kind of call. And plenty of action further down, as Moist is now up to 9th position, has gapped the drivers in front and has to try and catch a further second to try and get on terms with the drivers in front of him and try and make any more positions. Speedy Spud is 0.2 of a second only away from Triple Bay's 7th position. The Mercedes showing fairly well here, responds down at the tail of the order, but the drivers are absolutely all together here on the track as we try and get you the full track map as well. Oh dear, I'm just losing all my user interface right now. Merckx is 0.3 of a second away. How close does that look at this stage? Well, it's very, very close indeed, as it looks like Bjorn de Boer not going to fight this one too hard and just try and drag each other away from 3rd position. Ricky Maru, who has a penalty already, don't forget. Marco making a move and completing a move, but then spinning off past it was ARL, so Marco dropping down the order, sadly for him. That promotes his teammate though up to 8th, Speedy Spud up to 7th, and Davy Norris up to 10th. Marco down to 12th now, as it's all going wrong there, and that's looks like just a fault on the exit of Decido del Lago. The driver's hitting some sort of ghosted braking marker board repeatedly. I don't think that's still there, so we'll have another look next lap as the drivers move through, but looks very strange from a spectator point of view. 0.3 of a second is all we have at the top of the order, and it is even closer in the midfield as they head through Losail once again. We'll drop down the order shortly to see if Moist is going to pounce here before Losail. No, I don't think so. Just going to play it cool, play it calm, and try and make the move on the DRS. Here comes Merckx, 1/4 of a second away from Bjorn de Boer, and should be able to secure the move quite easily down the inside. Bjorn is fighting, though, to the inside of the Estel Senna and completing and keeping the move. Here comes Moist with a double overtake, potentially up to 5th position. Don't forget, Moist was plumb last after being disqualified from qualifying. Merckx holds on, though, into, there it is, the same braking marker board being destroyed every time we come through. The Haas has got ahead here, and it looks to be just the lead drivers as they come through. Is it? Yeah, indeed. So it is Speedy Spud leading, but down the inside comes the Mercedes of Triple Bay. Moist is waiting to pounce once again. Looks like he got the overtake, but ended up getting repassed through here. Respond with a 3-second penalty as Triple Bay round the outside will get the inside line into Bico di Pato and holds on again to that 5th position as Spud tries to sneak one down the inside lane through the next right-hander and into Mergulo. Now it's Losail, and Moist is in P7 right now, and I would imagine about to use that double DRS once again. He's got fairly close Davy Norris right behind in the Alpine, but in front of them, Speedy Spud challenging the Mercedes and easing his way through using the DRS, and this time the car's making the apex of the Estel Senna, but it will be battle resumed. It looks like Bjorn de Boer has just taken the lead of the race once again as these 4 drivers fight over these middle lane positions, as that looked like Davy Norris moving past Moist. That soft tyres working well. Merckx down to 2nd position. Bjorn de Boer back in the lead, and it looks like Ricky Maru on the medium tyres with the 3-second penalty right hot on their heels. We're halfway through the sprint already. This is flying by for us. Reassure me that the live chat's still working, please, because I've got a whirring screen on my second screen here for the connection. But Beyond the Ball leads by 0.6 of a second as Ricky Maru is in third. AJ's managing to disparage his car while driving. That's quite something, unless he's doing voice typing, which he may well be doing. Merckx is 2.5 of a second away only as they head towards that first corner once again, the midfield. And Triple Bay holding on like a champ right now and trying to get into the corner. Very strange to see Moist unable to move away from this one. Respond said, retired the car. Team told me to retire because of an issue. Okay. Interesting stuff from Respond. So here comes the Haas driver of Speedy Spud back into 5th position, just threading the needle and just staying away from the track limits abuse penalties. We saw flashing red light on the back of Moist's car as he went through past the camera shot there of lap 7 of 12. Bjorn leaves Merckx and Ricky Maru with Milan on his own in 4th position. Then it is a gaggle of cars right now. Speedy Spud in 5th. Triple Bay, David Norris, Strike Moist, all locked in battle together. And behind them also Sticky, Marco, Floyd Pink, Chuck Norris, ARL at the tail of the field right now. Merckx, here he comes, round, having to go around the long way around the outside through Sabido box and in towards Curve 1. Big lockup on the inside left front tyre there. Oh, and that was Ricky out of the race, having just T-boned the Lenovo advertising hoardings. Looks like we're going to have a yellow flag. Are we going to go into a VSC situation? Potentially, the car has been cleared, but that is championship 2nd place position. Ricky Maru out of our sprint race, unfortunately. And as our leaders go side by side through the Laranjinha corner and in towards S8, the right-hander. And Bjorn de Boer holding on. Can he hang on here to a famous victory? And Merckx beginning a different and worse kind of streak, it seems. If he's beaten today, it will be a streak of 2 defeats on the trot on the track with fair fighting. That has promoted Milan up to 3rd position, and now that huge melee fight that's been going on all race long is now for 4th place that Speedy Spud leads the train of cars right now. It is a Spud train, as here we have Bjorn de Boer down the inside, just holding on to that position, and Triple Bay trying to get that 4th position back now. And here comes Moist to do the double again. He did this before and then lost out on the next run through the corners. He's leaving a lot of fair space through Estosena. And then they come together, the Triple Bay and Moist, and they will run out of the Curva del Sol side by side. Looks like Moist has held on just about as he tries to just get a little bit of extra racing room. But Triple Bay braving it all the way around the outside. Milan on those soft tyres might be vulnerable later, but what about that from Triple Bay? What a staunch defence that was. Will Moist be tempted to a move down the inside? Not quite yet. He's not quite desperate enough. Beyond the ball, back into 2nd position. Merckx back into the lead. And there's 0.3 of a second between them as they head through Yun Sao and stamp on the loud pedal all the way up the hill and over the start-finish line to start lap 10 of 12. Here they go. Once again, we've got the DRS on board the McLaren. It'd be a late dive bomb move if it's coming. And he waits patiently for another opportunity. Back to this battle in the midfield. 4th position. Triple Bay now has a double world champion, the Maestro Moist, with his DRS right ready to attack. Bjorn Ball waits, doesn't go for a move down into Decido del Lago in lap 10, but you can be sure that Moist is planning another move. Here he goes to the inside line. Triple Bay giving up that inside line into the Decido del Lago left-hander and completes the move. Will we see? Ghosted for a second there was our champion, perhaps because he went off track slightly. But certainly he was ghosted and dropped down the order, dropped down places. Strike Moist has left the session. I think he's got a disconnection issue, unfortunately. That could be an absolute gimme for Merckx at the head of our championship at the moment. But Bjorn de Boer not happy to allow this just to run to a championship parade for Merckx. Merckx could do the impossible here and complete the championship before the end of our season, our double point finale. Lap 11 begins. Beyond the Board is still within that DRS zone of our incredible, sensational, merciless Merckx, who has won so many races this season. Oh, dear me. That was very clumsy from Spud. You have to say, it looks like Triple Bay with significant damage on the rear of the car, possibly a puncture incoming for the Mercedes, and possibly a visit to the steward's room there for Spud, as he ends up allowing Sticky through. Sticky, right from the back of that group, has come back all the way to 4th position. Triple Bay now has a penalty as well for multiple infractions on the track limits abuse, so he's had to hold on raggedly to the position, and he's been running off circuit 3 times or more. Moist with a penalty now for Moist, and he's down in 7th position. He has rejoined us, but here comes Bjorn de Boer. This is the last run into turn 1 at full racing speed. It's now or never if you're going to do it into curve 1. He's faking out a manoeuvre here to the inside just to try and put Merckx off. He needs absolutely pin-perfect positioning on the throttle on the way through the Estor Senna. This looks like a great run from Bjorn de Boer. Looks like it's ERS assisted as well, and he screams into the lead into Decido del Lago for the final time of asking through that phantom braking board. Once again, we see it reappear. But Bjorn de Boer now 1/4 of a second ahead. He needs to cover the inside line into the next 2 slow right-handers as Merckx finds another ghost marker board and smashes through it. But Bjorn de Boer has now a 4/10 of a second lead. Will we see a late last-second manoeuvre from Merckx, or will it be a drag race to the finish out of Junsau? Bjorn has got to hold on here. This is intense pressure from Merckx the Merciless. Bjorn could be on for a debut, a first sprint race victory as they scream up the hill. It is going to be DRS assisted. It's going to be neck and neck. Merckx gets it right to the death with great use of the ERS deployment at the end, beating Bjorn de Boer by 1/4 of a second only. Milan racking up the points for the Williams team, all on his own on the soft tyres as well, coming home into 3rd position. Sticky, the only non-penalised driver among this group to finish as Speedy Spud gets 5th. Strike Moist picks up 6th thanks to the penalties on Triple Bay. Chuck Norris in 7th, Davey Norris in 8th. Chuck Norris moved up well there from his start position, with Floyd Pink in 9th, and Triple Bay getting 10th position, but points only for the top 8 in the sprint. ARL bringing the car home in 11th place, and Marco will be the final one on the circuit. Response saying Merckx is the undisputed ghost, certainly of Season 3. He absolutely is. And Merckx, great pressurised win there in the end. Really, really had to fight for it. And hats off to Bjorn de Boer for his tremendous performance as well. He made that into a fantastic, epic sprint race battle. ARL saying got rear-ended and impossible to drive with rear damage. Sorry to hear it, but we've got the Grand Prix still to come. Next up, though, one-shot quali for the Grand Prix. We have Moist with a Mercedes fan zone badge, but driving for his World Championship winning constructor team, Aston Martin. So with 8 points, Merckx, 7 go to the way of Bjorn de Boer, with Milan in 3rd, Sticky in 4th. We have Speedy Spud in 5th, and Moist in 6th in the end. Chuck Norris leads Davey Norris, father leads son for 7th and 8th, and Floyd Pink's in 9th, with Triple Bay in 10th, ARL in 11th, Marco in 12th, and unfortunately we didn't see Ricky Maru or respond home at the flag, but we will probably be heading pretty quickly straight away into one-shot qualifying now for the Grand Prix before a short break. So it looks like sunny conditions, but later in the day with longer shadows here for qualifying. Accurate, I think, to actual race, actual qualifying time situation. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Last week's 10th place finish was in the end decided in the steward's room. the stewards giving it to Sticky in the end by removing his track limit penalty at the end of lap 2. That removed his 3-second penalty, and Floyd was put back to finish where he did on the road in 11th. So just that little bit of info for you. We still have one-shot quali for the Grand Prix to come, and then, of course, our customary break while the drivers prepare, and we get an opportunity for feature race snackage to be sought and organised for everybody, audience included. Thank you so much to the 7 awesome people that have already liked the video today. Really appreciate it. And we go 30 seconds before we start. One-shot quali once again. The drivers should be well used to the track now. The conditions look similar to how they did in the sprint race. I imagine the drivers will be keen to try and maximise this, especially the likes of Moist, who managed to get 6th out of a 14th place start in 12 laps. He'll be looking for something similar out of the 36, 38 plus laps of the Grand Prix. Here we go then. It's time to qualify here in one shot. We seem to default onto Speedy Spud as the session host, I think, as Floyd Pink has managed to retire before Speedy Spud has fully exited turn 1, so clearly got turn 1 all kinds of wrong. Davey Norris retiring from the session as well. So we've got Respond was up there for a moment. Looks like it's Ricky Maru, Milan and Bjorn who were at the head of this run. Moist is showing well on the way out of the Ciudad del Lago as well, but Bjorn holds on at the moment to the provisional pole position. Needs to continue to get this hooked up. Moist just trading times there, seemingly faster on the entry into the corner, but Bjorn faster on the exit of the corner into Pico de Pato now. And Moist is still in second position. This McLaren driver, Bjorn de Boer, as Ricky's retired from the session as well. Looks like a disaster show for Ricky today, unfortunately. He did say to me privately that he'd had very little, if zero, practice due to other commitments at the moment. So Ricky just fighting through adversity. Looks like it's going to be Bjorn de Boer who is going to get it in the end. Pole position goes his way, a 107.7. Very impressive one-shot quali time from Strike Moist's 108.1 and Merckx on an almost identical time, 0.02 of a second, separating the Maestro from the Merciless. Brilliant stuff from our drivers. Let's get you confirmation of the starting grid, and then we will have our break to come. It is Bjorn de Boer who picks up first position, the only driver in the 107s ahead of Moist and Merckx. Very closely fought between the two of them, and Milan's not far away in 4th. Marco managed to get that Aston Martin into 5th position, and that's very impressive from him. Speedy Spud in 6th place. I think Marco was 4 seconds off pole in the first one-shot quali, and now he's 1 second up to 1 second away. Speedy Spud's in 6th. Respond, Chuck Norris, Sticky, Triple Bay, ARL, Ricky Maru, Davey Norris and Floyd Pink do not start the race with a completed qualifying time. They will start at the back of the grid in that very order, and we will go in 6 minutes time, or at 35 minutes past the hour for those of you watching live. For those of you watching Chase after Monday or so, I probably have edited this bit out. We'll be back to see you on the other side for the Brazilian Grand Prix. if any of our drivers have the live chat up, I'd love to see a forecast, and I'd love, especially, to see some rain in Brazil. But we do tend to have really good DRS battles nonetheless. So if you could give me a weather forecast, I would absolutely love it. Three weeks to go in this season. Floydie says rain at the end. Thank you very much, Floydie. That will be great for us spectators. Almost race time, folks. I hope you've got what you need to enjoy the race with us. I've had the ready up, so we should be trackside any moment for you. 50% distance around the Sao Paulo circuit of Interlagos coming up. Hi to Jessica, who joins just in time for the Grand Prix. And it's ready for round 13 of the championship here in Brazil. The lights are on. And it's time to drop the clutch and go, go, go. Beyond a board, streaking away pretty nicely indeed with Moist on the inside defending from Merck. Merck trying to go around the outside of Curve 1, but there's no way through. We've got a driver loose, and that is going to be Chuck Norris. No, it's Sticky in the McLaren, who is punted off to the outside of the circuit, but everybody making it through the initial phase of the corner. It is Moist who's looking very, very close to the lead here, but Beyond a board holds on by 0.2 of a second as we run through that braking marker board. I will stop referring to it shortly, but it is entertaining me somewhat. Ricky Marou's up to 8th position after starting in 11th, I believe. Another great start from Ricky. So have a look at the tyre choices. Medium tyres from the majority of the grid, and it is our leader Beyond a Boar and Merck who are most vulnerable. Ricky goes down the inside of the Red Bull of Chuck Norris and completes the move nicely. Great keen start from Ricky to try and make amends for the problematic run through that sprint race start. We'll get the DRS will be enabled after the start finish line, so not until the trip down towards Decido del Lago, but the slipstream is working here for Moist, who is managing to stay right hot on the tail of Merck. Running through the order, and it's the Alpine of Davy Norris taking Father Chuck Norris and making the overtake nicely into Curve 1. That did look like it was slightly on the easy side for Davy. Chuck Norris not making it too difficult. Stoic Moist going for the overtake down the inside, but he just couldn't keep the speed at the apex with the soft tyres on board Bjorn de Burt, and he needs to avoid opening the door here to Merck as well, also on the soft tyres. Some patience needed here from Moist. Just 0.3 of a second away from the lead of the race, which is held by Bjorn de Boer, who showed so well in our sprint as well. Ricky in 7th place and moving forward, and he's in an absolute hurry to get on terms with these drivers at the front. The longer they stay locked in battle, the better for Ricky later on in this race. Medium tyres are the start tyre from the majority of the drivers. Medium to soft or medium to hard will be the way to go. Soft to hard maybe, but probably soft to medium later on in our race. But 0.4 of a second is the gap between Moist. Ricky Marou's already got the nose ahead, and he's about to overtake Speedy Spud here before the start finish line. I think he's spending away on that ERS just to try and get track position early doors and not get too far away from the lead group, which is Beyond the Ball, Moist, Merckx and Milan. Just the Triple M drivers here in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions. But Milan was holding on really nicely to the pace earlier on, and I wonder if a longer strategy is going to work for him nicely here, as Merck looks like he's the most likely to launch an overtake. He's got the DRS, so has Moist in front of him, but he's also got a big tyre advantage for the next 2 laps or so, while the soft tyres are really hot and ready to go. Behind him you can see Ricky in 5th position. Milan is right here and ready to pounce, staying with the group at the front. And he held on nicely for the first half of the sprint race. So the first 6 or 7 laps, Milan was right with them, as Beyond the Ball has managed to stay in 1st position. And he hasn't been able to gap by a second, but he's certainly gapped by a decent chunk. There it was 0.8 coming out of Jonsal down to Curve 1, and it's down to 3.5 of a second. But he's able to hold on to the lead, and I don't think that Moist can make the overtake into Decido del Lago either. But Merckx is right with Moist as well. Here comes Merckx from 3rd position, just trying to get Moist to go offline in defence and have a slower run through the corner. Because Moist's tyres are not quite there. ARL saying the PC crashed and it has put him ghosted, I imagine. As a result, he'll try and get back in. Sorry, the PS has crashed. The PlayStation ARL on our PlayStation team. Let's just see, is he ghosted? Yeah, indeed. So he has dropped to the back of the field, almost down to 12th placed, as he's trying to get back into our race, and he's stuck at AI speed here, which is set so as not to give any drivers an incentive to press the pause button mid-race and run at the same pace as the drivers around them, but also to not lose too much pace if they run out of connection or have a mechanical issue at home. 3-second warning for 3-second penalty for respond early doors here into lap 5 as Moist goes side by side with the McLaren driver of Bjorn de Burt. He has to tuck in through the Curva del Sol and out of that corner with the DRS, and he's got great overspeed towards the apex, but this is what he tried on lap 1. He just doesn't have the grip, and if you defend on the outside of Interlagos, sometimes you can hold on, and you've got the inside line in here for the right-hander of Laurent Hinya. The door is wide open from Moist as he tries to cut straight back in, as Pink in the Shadows says, respond with the L. Yeah, down in 14th, unfortunately. Looks like maybe a crash situation, but I think he's pitted onto the hard tyres early and maybe fixed some damage as well. So he's going to go for the mother of all undercuts here, is respond, and he might pick up some places and maybe some points by the end of the race, but he's also picking up penalties, unfortunately, which is not going to help the situation. Milan is right on the back here and starting to think about an attack of Merckx as well. Let's see what happens in front of Milan, as Merckx has had great exit out of Yonsao and just powered past Moist. Milan might be tempted to have a look at the double world champion as well, but Merckx now into second position, and Beyond a Boat leading, but by not quite a second, and that means that the DRS will still be all to play for. Speedy Spud is battling hard for 5th, 6th position here. He's in 5th right now. He's looking for he's in 6th. He's looking for 5th off Ricky Marou. Sticky side by side with Chuck Norris. They tangle wheels. And it looks like Chuck Norris's teammate Floyd Pink trying to sweep around the outside. Oh, a little of a side swipe into the Aston Martin of Marco. That was a little bit clumsy from Floyd. But Marco with nowhere to go. He was already on the far side of the circuit. Respond has retired, unfortunately. And well, I'm sure we'll see him in the chat with some sort of an explanation. But I imagine by the look of things, that was irreparable damage. Floyd Pink up to 9th and now battling here with Sticky for the smallest points on offer tonight. But fighting hard as usual here. Here comes Merck down the inside for the lead, and looks like this is going to be completed, but Beyond a Boat has no shortage of courage there around the outside of the Estos Senna. It will probably lose out on the exit here of the Curva del Sol, and indeed Merck has completed the move using the DRS zone. Floyd has pinked up a 3-second penalty. Pink in the Shadows wasn't too pleased with what he saw, I think, in the midfield there. Merck leads Bjorn from Moist and Milan, all within a second of each other. And 2 seconds back is Ricky Marou, just about hanging on ahead of Speedy Spud. Ricky having spent a lot of ERS, I suspect, at the start of the race to move forward. He needs the points in 5th position, but there's a penalty for Ricky Marou for track limits abuse. I wonder if we will see any more in front of him, as Marco also picks one up from 11th place. It's lap 7 of 36. The soft tyres will start to degrade shortly, and the drivers will be targeting lap 12. The 1/3 distance for the soft tyre to switch to the medium. If they have too great a degradation, they'll have to switch to the hard tyre, but they'll be avoiding the hard tyre like the plague, I think, tonight. Often the drivers are preferring to take 2 stops rather than use a hard tyre. Bjorn has a great exit out of Curva del Sol this time, and some good DRS overspeed. I'm not sure it's enough into Decido de Lager. It's not quite enough. And he can't quite make the overtake, but piling the pressure on our championship leader, Merckx. Through goes Milan. That's Ricky Marou in that 5th position, but now with a penalty on the car. Further back, the Red Bulls continue to fight. And I did hear this week that Chuck Norris once had a fight with Superman, and the loser, the bet was that the loser had to wear their underpants on the outside of their outfit. Marco just punted down to 10th again, unfortunately, but these Red Bulls are really fighting hard, Floyd Pink and Chuck Norris, and you wouldn't know they were on the same team at the moment, would you? Strike Moist, 0.2 of a second away from the soft tyre shod Beyond a Boat, and I think that's the key here, that the medium tyres have suddenly found some speed. Moist was, I think, 4 wheels off the racetrack, and a double overtake again from Moist, and he's making a real habit of this in this race meet today. What a great overtake from our double world champion, full and flush with confidence after being the first driver to beat Merckx over a Grand Prix distance last time out. Moist into the lead and on the better tyre at this point in the strategies. We shall see if it translates later on, but of course he's got the opportunity to be quick later. He was slow out of Interlagos, but somehow Merck managed to, I think with some electrical deployment advantage, regain the position on the right-hander into Laranjina. Now we're into the Pinarino corner and through towards Pico di Pato. So Moist will have to do it all over again, but he didn't panic. He didn't lose ground too much. He just allowed Merck through and will continue to battle, I suspect, here, as his medium tyres should be getting him out of Losail better, I think, than the softs at this stage. That's lap 9 of 36, and Merck leads Moist, Bjorn de Boer and Milan as the order continues to swap around these great champions and, well, champion, I suppose, and champion-elect here, fighting at the front of the order. And Bjorn de Boer also joining our league with some great pace as well. I heard tell that he's a friend of Merckx, so that probably tells you all you need to know about the pace. But Merckx is right there, and out of the Estosena and through Curva del Sol, they come once again. Moist then, 1/4 of a second away through Interlagos and Laranjina, and he hasn't quite closed in. Just threatening to the right-hand side there. Great battle, these 4 drivers. Milan hasn't really been involved yet, but he hasn't also been dropped either. So he is playing a very patient waiting game on the medium tyre here, is Milan. Not willing to extend himself too much. Doesn't feel like they're going to get away from him. And maybe going to strike later on. We've got a lap or two before the medium tyre window is officially open, I would suggest, here for the drivers. But they might end up going in early, as indeed Bjorn de Boer does from the soft tyres. Feels like he's being held up and losing time. Here comes Moist once again at the start of lap 11, retakes the lead, and a little bit smoother through the next 2 corners this time. And look at the performance of the tyre through the Estosena. Merckx will pick up the DRS and may have to regain some of that time, but I don't think we'll be able to challenge into Interlagos this time. So it looks like Moist will complete the move and stay ahead now at this stage. That might be an indicator to Merck to head his way in. As Response says, a 10-second penalty for Bjorn. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, there's definitely a penalty on the car. That is indeed 10 seconds. What is that for? Is that speeding in the pit lane? But that still seems pretty strict. A 10-second penalty is usually 5, isn't it? That's kind of crazy. As Moist is in first position, Merckx in second, and Milan in third. I think Pink in the Shadows might be being a little bit sarcastic to respond there. But Respond is going to take it in good humour, I'm sure. Into the pits then comes the merciless Merckx, and can he get the car stopped in time? I have seen a lot of drivers, especially in the wet in Brazil, get penalties for speeding in the pit lane. So I wonder if that's what's going to happen more and more today. If anyone spotted why Bjorn got that 10-second penalty, as Merckx has actually switched to the hard tyre, so has Ricky Maru. So Moist is in the lead by half a second from Milan. These 2 drivers on the same strategy here and have played a bit of a canny waiting game into lap 12 of 36 we are now, and they'll be trying to get through to about 10 or 11 laps to go before they go. Response is speeding in the pit lane, but was barely too fast, apparently. But that's worth a 10-second penalty, is it? I thought it was usually 5 for that, but maybe particularly egregious examples are what's happened here. Merck then, the key for Merck is his gap to the leader at this stage, 19.2 seconds. And he's on new hard tyres, but he's got the McLaren of Bjorn de Boer in front of him. Pink says undeserved for that speeding. It does seem very harsh in the pit lane for this race, as here are the 2 Red Bulls. Chuck Norris ahead of Floyd Pink now, as Speedy Spud pits. That promotes Davy Norris in the Alpine up to P3 and driving a great race. Bjorn de Boer, new fastest lap, and he's out on the medium tyres and not too concerned, it seems, about getting those medium tyres home. He stopped 1 lap earlier than Merckx. He has resumed his lead ahead of Merckx, And now we're looking at that gap to leader as Milan is right hot on the tail here of Moist. And Response says no, it is 10 for the in the sim platform, but in real life it is 5 seconds. That is why I'm getting confused, unless of course they actually upped it this season and I just didn't log it in my brain for some reason. Moist is in first with Milan just half a second behind. Here is riding on board the Williams driver Milan, as they've still got some way to go on those medium tyres to run the soft later on. Of course, they could stop for hards if they really wanted to, but I don't think that's going to help them, as the gap out to Beyond a Bort is now just 15.6. So they are going to run later and longer in the Grand Prix, but equally they are going to have to make overtakes, I think, past Bjorn and past Merckx. Bjorn will be the most vulnerable here. As Ping says, NPC stewards. Well, indeed. But hopefully more consistent than main character stewards, it would seem. Half a second still separates our leaders here, as Beyond a Bort and Merckx are not far apart from each other at all. Milan chasing down our double world champion Moist, half second away. But they don't really want to cost each other too much time. ARL is in the pits, and is that fitting new hards? I think it is. Fitting new hard tyres, ARL, in 11th place, as we are 14 laps into this 36-lap race. We've already had a sprint, but it hasn't dulled the edge of this particular Grand Prix. We've definitely had plenty to enjoy so far. As running through the order, we'll just go back and check the intervals, as Merckx is 1.5 seconds away from Beyond a Bort, really struggling to get those hard tyres up to temperature. I'm not sure the hards have been the way to go. Ricky Maru is trying to find his way through past the Red Bull, and easily does it because the Red Bull pits. Ricky in 5th, 7 seconds away from 4th place Merckx, both on the same tyre, on the same strategy. So he'll take that at this stage of the race, I think, especially as his prediction was that lap 10 he would be in the wall again. Floyd Pink in 8th place moves ahead of Sticky as they both pit, and here is the battle for the lead at the moment. Half a second still separating Milan and Moist. Beyond a Bort now only 12.2 away from this battle, so he will have a significant lead as Moist goes quite wide going out of Yonsao. That will slow him up the hill, and we'll see if anybody heads into the pits this time round. No, it's a bit early here for the soft tyre to switch on, and I think that's the main target here for our leaders at this stage. Let's have a look down at the tail of the order, because Sticky is about to pass Triple Bay, who is ghosted at the moment. Looks like Triple Bay might have had to step away, or has suffered a mechanical. So he's suffering some slow AI pace right now, as Chuck Norris is hot on the heels of the V-carb and spins. Just getting... And so does his teammate at the same point. Both Red Bulls, Spinellas, little pirouettes around. A sympathy spin there from Floyd Pink. Unfortunately, that's either going to upset or entertain Jessica. If you're watching, Jessica, let me know whether you were laughing at that or crying. But Moist still leads us by half a second. Bjorn has caught the gap a little bit. That is Sticky spinning on the way through Curve 1 on the way towards the Estos Senna. So Sticky with a spin too, down to 12th position. Milan is just 0.4 of a second away as they both pit at the end of lap 16 with 20 laps to go. That is early doors for the medium tyre for me, and Moist picked up a penalty on the way in as well. Milan must have been very close to a penalty as he was fully locked up going through the order. So Moist is going to come through as Response shouts in capitals that Moist 10 seconds as well. Absolutely, it is crazy. He's climbing all over the curves to try and recoup some of that time, but Beyond a Bort has already passed the pit lane exit. They have no tyre advantage to speak of to get home. They've gone for the hard tyre for 20 laps. They couldn't get the medium through to a soft tyre window. Does that mean that Beyond a Bort might have to stop twice, I wonder? Obviously, he'll be lower on fuel, but he put a fastest lap of the race in the on his first flying lap out of the pits. So he wasn't taking it very carefully. I think he might be trying to sprint home here and two-stop it. We will have to wait and see as to what happens. 8.4 seconds was the loss in the pits overall for Moist and for Milan. And Ricky Maru's got right between Milan and Moist. Moist, though, now with the penalty as well. Don't forget. Just check out those penalties. 10 seconds each for Bjorn and for Moist. Merckx is going to walk this one, it seems, at the moment, into the first corner, and Merckx was very much with it. Oh, Bjorn has crashed. Merckx has gone back into the lead of the race. Bjorn with a 10-second penalty. I don't think the drivers will be able to remove those penalties as well, because they're slam dunk pit lane entry penalties. Speed limit is a speed limit. There's no really arguing with it. Like trying to argue with the traffic camera, I'm afraid. Ricky Maru's in 4th position now, and could be much higher up the order thanks to not picking up too many penalties. I think just the 3 seconds he has, and he's within the window of trying to get Bjorn and Moist here with their penalties. He can see Moist in front, so that should be easy. He's just got to hold on and stay ahead here of Milan on the road. But tyre situation right now, Moist on the newest hard tyres with Milan. And then we have soft tyres on Floyd and on Marco that won't make the end of the race. I'm not sure that Bjorn de Boer can actually make it home at the end either. And Merckx has just found himself 7.5 seconds in the lead thanks to that spin from Bjorn. But with those penalties as well, it is absolutely a gift to Merck the Merciless and the lead of this championship. I wonder if we will see the championship completed next week or the week after, but it's looking like it certainly will be before our double point season finale. Sticky moves up to 11th ahead of Marco, and Milan is still hot on the heels of Ricky Maru for that 4th place on the road at the moment. Whether Ricky can gain positions here against Moist and Bjorn and get further up the road to protect from his 3-second penalty remains to be seen, because Speedy Spud has been very quick today. He's got no penalties on the car at this stage, and he's just half a second away from Milan as well. So well within the window of Ricky Maru's penalties to leapfrog him. Strike has passed Bjorn de Boer in an unusual position there, coming out of Yunsao corner. DRS on both cars, it seems. No, just on the Aston Martin. As Moist takes a very different speed and line through Curva 1. I think Bjorn might have a run on him again here. Coming down the Retro-Aposta. Having a little fake move into the corner as penalty for breathing, says Pink in the Shadows. They have been harsh today, haven't they? These stewards. This is Ricky on the inside into Laranjinia corner and holding on, but he's still got Milan just in front of him. No, Milan has now passed him, excuse me. So Milan, with the better pace and fewer penalties on the car, is in a good position here in 4th place, only 1.6 away from Bjorn on the road as well, with 10 seconds plus to Bjorn and Moist's cars on the road at the moment. 7.8 seconds is Merck's lead on lap 21 of 36. Down here we still have Speedy Spud with the DRS available to him on the back of the V-carb of Ricky Maru. Championship leading V-carb, don't forget, as Marco, who is still ghosted, Triple Bay, who is still ghosted, is being passed by Marco easily, of course. And then we have Ricky and Speedy Spud passing the McLaren, I think, of Sticky, who's exiting the pits. It's Milan still as well in that 4th place. Bjorn de Boer is still only 0.4 of a second away from Moist. Who gets a little wiggle on there out of the corner, does Bjorn. Ricky's taken a second penalty now. And it is curtains for his bid for the podium, I fear, with a +6 on the car, because both Milan and Speedy Spud will get him. Should be safe from David Norris in 7th, ARL in 8th. The Red Bulls still 9th and 10th, picking up 3 championship points at the moment from Marco in 11th, Triple Bay in 12th, and Sticky down in 13th position on lap 22 of 36 as Bjorn gets perilously close to the rear of Moist car, and these two continue to do battle, looking for that opportunity down into Decido del Lago, but no bueno this time. David Norris in 7th, very much on his own here, 12 seconds away from Spud and 10 seconds in front of ARL. I'm not sure where it's going to come from, the next pass, whether it's going to be here for 4th or 5th, or it's going to be further up the road for 2nd position from Bjorn on Moist. But these guys driving a very good race so far. So we've got 14, make that 13 laps to go now, and Ricky Moreau is within sight of Milan, but not within the DRS zone. He could really do with it. Bjorn getting very close behind Moist here. Once again, trying to make the most of these opportunities. Both cars wearing 10-second penalties, so they're fighting each other for 2nd position here. No move coming from Ricky or from Speedy Spud either, as Moist goes defensive into Laranjinya, the right hand. And Bjorn trying to find a way to continue to pressure. Fantastic stuff from our drivers, who have fought hard all evening here. And Milan in 4th place, just a second ahead of Ricky Moreau, who might just get DRS on the next time round. Bjorn is struggling on those medium tyres, and did wonder if he would get them comfortably home. After starting on the softs, the drivers who started on the mediums couldn't get to the point where they could use the softs. Bjorn goes around the outside, DRS manoeuvre, and safely through for Bjorn. Just needs to keep it nice and steady coming through the next 2 corners, and shouldn't have to defend too hard. Another repass then from Moist, another great manoeuvre from him, and he's up into 2nd position once again. I don't think it will be 2nd at the end of the race, but they're definitely happy to continue battling each other and lose out to the cars behind them on the road, rather than play it cool and try and raise their pace together. Like the tail getting out there for Moist on the way through Pico di Pato. Through Yunsao corner and out again, and suddenly Moist has opened the gap. And it will be almost unattainable to get this back with the DRS from Bjorn. Looks like he's doing a good job now at the moment. And up we go. Any move coming from Ricky on Milan or on Speedy Spud on Ricky? I wonder who's your pick out of these 3 for the end of the race, because they are fighting very, very hard at once again. Of course, Merckx might make a mistake up front. It's unlikely, but it's possible. As looks like Kick-Sauber and the Aston Martin, but not the correct Aston Martin, just filter through Laranjinya together. Merckx, the only Kick-Sauber in the field, has been the only Kick-Sauber scoring points for the majority of the season. He has got teammate Atsu, who has been driving with him, but hasn't been able to get the car to the same level that Merckx has, as we get Merckx Masterclass being commented by Pink. Absolutely, he's doing a great job, and this is Bjorn de Boer really struggling on the tyres. And will he head into the pits? Not quite. He's looking for the toe on the back of Triple Bay's Mercedes, but definitely Moist getting the edge here at the moment. The McLaren struggling through the corners. There's that Ricky Maru go for the move onto the curve of one and just holding on. And I wonder if I just saw the first spot of rain on the track. I forgot for a moment we were expecting rain. Keep your eyes peeled. I can see rain. Let's drive on board one of the drivers, and you can definitely see it now. So rain in the last 10 laps of the race. Will that come to save Bjorn de Boer, who has clearly not got tyres for the end of this one? I don't think those mediums are going to get him home, so he could well have been able to get them to the point where the intermediates will work. It is just spitting with rain at the moment. It will be psychological rain, the kind of rain that makes the driver gets on the driver's visors, but doesn't actually settle on the race circuit. Starts to burn off thanks to the track temperature. But we've got rain in the tail of this Grand Prix for you. Merckx leads by 8.9 seconds. But if he decides to be conservative on his tyre choice, that could get eaten up very quickly. We know Merckx Moist's quality in the rain. I don't know if we've seen Merckx perform expertly in the rain before. Here then is a manoeuvre from Milan, but Ricky into that fourth position, holding on at the moment, 0.4 of a second away, and starting to get some pace here suddenly, and a little bit of an edge over the drivers with him. That's Speedy Spud going for the manoeuvre on Milan and completing it. Milan just losing time trying to follow Ricky and open the door to a manoeuvre there from Speedy Spud up to 5th position as Davy Norris retires from 8th place. I wonder if that's going to be a safety car. Well, Chuck Norris is out there turning as well and causing his own yellow flag, but I think that's a different yellow flag to the one that that Davy Norris has caused in 8th place going through the next few corners. No, I think he's retired and I think he's on his way out. This is Speedy Spud on Milan, and both drivers struggling compared to Ricky Maru in these changeable conditions right now. Who blinks first and heads to the pit lane? The rain fairly steady, but nothing too dramatic. At this stage, no one convinced it's time to go through. You'll see DRS denied or disabled. Wow, what a run for Milan as Ricky tries to defend here the manoeuvre, but Milan getting a double overtake into turn 1 from out of nowhere, frankly, as Ricky with a 3-second penalty, or is it 6 second now? I think it is. Let's check that one out. Yeah, 6 seconds for Ricky as he's sideways through Descida de Lago. Loses a 10th or 2 to the Williams driver, Milan in front. Merckx leads by 8.8 seconds with just 8 laps to go, with Moist in 2nd place, Bjorn de Boer in 3rd. Both of those two drivers, though, wearing 10 seconds of penalties. That'll put Milan in 2nd comfortably at this stage. But mistakes are never far away here with the rain falling in Brazil. How does it look on board? It's unchanged, really. But the lap times will be dropping dramatically, with the drivers now struggling for adhesion. But are they dropping to such a point that someone decides to put intermediate tyres on? I think that might be Ricky. Let's try not to pick up a penalty this time. I say so many times in the wet here in Brazil, people enter the pits too quickly. This is ARL on the hard tyres. I would have thought he should have stopped earlier than that. Speedy picks up another penalty. Chuck Norris retires from the session. Chuck Norris in the pit lane has retired, and there's another Red Bull. That's Floyd Pink, who seems to be stationary. No, Chuck Norris has retired on the track on the exit of the Curva del Sol. So the car is stranded, but it looks like we're going to escape another safety car situation here this season, thankfully. So Floyd Pink then in 9th has the McLaren, I think, of Sticky with him, and Sticky sideways into the corner of Pico de Pato. It looked very, very hairy for him Let's have a look at tyre choices so far. Intermediates are on Ricky Maru and on ARL, Floyd Pink and Sticky. So they are hoping to perform a miracle here and have one really good lap ahead of the other drivers who are still on dry tyres. Lap 30 of 36, Merckx, Moist, Bjorn de Boer and Milan with Speedy Spud here in 5th position. That looked like Bjorn going into the pits off the medium tyre, off the destroyed medium tyre I would imagine by now, and heading in for some inters, I believe, as the rain still doesn't appear to be heading too bad. But of course, these drivers having to take their 10-second penalty in the pits this time, and that is really going to cost their race pace. Ricky has passed Bjorn, so Ricky up to 5th place now, and on the intermediate tyre. I can't see his lap times. I wish we could see lap times like we can see with in Gran Turismo, for example. You can compare lap times to one another. He's running 0.8 of a second slower than his best through the first sector, but that could be the same for everybody, quite frankly. What we need is comparative lap times from the dry runners, and this is where AWS could do with giving us some better graphics in the game, some one-on-one graphics that would be really, really helpful. Here is Milan, and he is about to lap a Red Bull, but he's got Speedy Spud behind him coming through. Is that Speedy Spud in the pits now? Yes. That was a Red Bull just slowing for Milan to get through. They're going to try and get home on the hard tyres. Where is Ricky right now? He is 15 seconds away from Spud and 34.6 away from the lead of the race. Now, will that change matters? Will he be able to catch the drivers in front thanks to being on the better tyre in the wet conditions? I don't think it's wet enough for the Inters even. Oh no, maybe it is. It is, from the driver's eye view, it is considerably wetter than from the spectators. That's not unusual here, frankly. Let's have a look at Merckx and his current time. It's 5.4 seconds slower. Ricky, through Sector 1, was only 0.9 slower. Into the pits comes Merckx with a gap of 33.9 to Ricky. Moist, still on the hard tyre, and into the pits himself. We'll need to avoid that pit lane entry penalty this time. So Milan and Marco still the only drivers out on the hard tyres. Milan with nothing to lose, frankly, here. Could get Merckx in the pits. Merckx is on his way out of the pit lane, and he's got the intermediate tyre on the car. We'll find out where they feed through as they come out of Curva del Sol and look back, and there is Merckx. So there is a gap. That is that something that Merckx can overcome, that gap, within the next 4 laps of the race? Milan will have to double down here and stick with it to try and go for the win. The intermediate tyres will switch on incredibly quickly as responses. What a gamble from him. Definitely is a gamble, but with less to lose here than Merckx potentially. Could Milan be the second driver to beat Merckx? I don't think so. Look at the way the gap is dropping. It's down to under a second already here. Surely this is a bid for second position here from Milan. Look, he's having to tiptoe around the circuit on the hard tyres that are the worst performing dry in the wet because they just cool so quickly, and it's just going to be candy from a baby as Merckx sweeps around the outside. Will Milan decide now to go in or just stick with the decision? I think you have to stick with it now. There's no point going in the pits and losing all those seconds as Pink says he's going to pull a Norris. I'm assuming you mean a Norris in Russia situation, as Merckx is truly inevitable, says Respond. Absolutely. It's why I call him the merciless Merckx. He is incredible. But look at the gap opening up. So Milan will be concerned about Ricky, but what he doesn't necessarily know is that Ricky has 6 seconds of penalties on the car. Milan and Marco with Triple Bay all trying to get home here on dry tyres. Triple Bay on 15 lap-old mediums is actually performing a bit of a miracle out there to be where he is. Lap 33 of 36. And Ricky catching Milan, but is it enough? It's 12 plus 6. It's 18 seconds here overall for Milan to hang on to second position. And I think that is his best bet now. Because if he pits, he will definitely drop those 18 seconds to Ricky. If he stays out, there's a chance he won't. There's a chance he can hang on. So tiptoeing around goes Milan in the Williams, but Merck leads as he starts lap 34. Looks to be coming up to lap another car in front of these drivers at the moment, but Milan there in that second position. Big gaps through the rest of the field, but it's really important now, the interval between Milan and Ricky. That's dropped by 3.5 seconds in the last 2 laps, I think, from that gap. So I still think at that rate, it's still not possible for Ricky to catch Milan. He's going to use the Aston Martin here for a little slipstream, potentially, but that will probably just upset his balance more than anything. Who is that going to be? Well, it could well be Marco down there on hard tyres, the same. Triple Bay still on those medium tyres now, 16 lap old mediums. He has taken those further than anybody else. As we just remember the tyre situation, we'll look at the penalties now, as those 2 10-second penalties have been taken from the drivers. Ricky closing the gap down to 6.3 seconds, but remember that's plus an additional 6 seconds. So with 2 laps to go, it's just starting the penultimate lap. Milan has a 11-second lead. Net 11-second lead over Ricky Marut, but he's on hard tyres. Ricky is on intermediate tyres here. Ricky would love the points, but it looks like Ricky is going to be settled into second place because Merckx is going to take a commanding and almost unassailable lead into the final 3 races of this championship. Not unusual for the International Racing League. What is unusual is that champion-elect is not Moist this time round. Could be the first of our 3 seasons where Moist is not crowned champion. It almost certainly will be. I don't think Moist can actually win the championship now. He's in 5th place. He's on intermediate tyres. He's catching Spud here for 4th place, and Spud has a 3-second penalty. Strike has cleared his penalties now, and he's in 5th position. He has somehow overcome Bjorn beautifully. They both came in the pits at the same time and had both 10-second penalties to pace on stationary time. Ricky is catching Milan. He can see Milan. He's 1.1 seconds away only, plus 6. That's the crucial thing. Milan, I don't know if he can see the penalty situation for Ricky, but Ricky, look, he's just going to walk past Milan. Shades of Hamilton in 2008 as he goes through the final corner on those wet tyres. Response is Ricky is so close. This is crazy. There is 1 lap and Ricky's target is 5.5 seconds to gain on Milan for second place in this race. Merckx is 13.5 seconds clear of Ricky on the road, plus those 6 seconds. It looks like Ricky's going to do it. It's out to now 2 seconds, that gap, as Merckx is deep into the second sector of the racetrack. It's 2.1. Ricky's gap out to Milan. Remember, it needs to be 6. He's halved the difference. It's now down to 3 seconds. And what can Milan do to try and hold on to this final part of the race? Has he saved any ERS deployment? Merckx doesn't care about whatever is going on behind him. He has absolutely unleashed the beast here as Merckx comes out of Yonsao unaffected by anybody. Merckx is going to complete the double tonight with the sprint race followed by the Grand Prix victory. Merckx wins yet again in the International Racing League Season 3. Ricky's gap is 6.0 seconds at the end. What a performance. 6.054. It's going to be a down to ERS deployment 2300s, 3900s, and there goes Ricky. And I think he's going to do it. No, in fact, Spinny Spud has dropped down. What on earth has happened to our driver of that was there before. It looks like a disconnection from Milan. No, Milan's down to fifth. Moist comes through in third. Looks like Milan managed to crash somehow through that run. Ricky finished ahead of Moist and Speedy Spud. Milan dropping down to fifth. I think he basically just gave it everything and ended up going off the circuit, but you have to applaud him for a valiant effort to hang on. Hard tyres in the rain there. To come home in fifth was still a pretty good performance from Milan. It wasn't necessarily the best strategy, but he was trying to make lemonade out of lemons. In the end, he just made a very sour, unpleasant drink, but he got home in fifth. A very entertaining finish for you, absolutely. It got you guys shouting, didn't it? It got 9 of you to like the video today, and I hope many more of you to subscribe to the channel with notifications. That'll be super well appreciated from me. Trying to put out daily racing content at the moment. I hope you're enjoying it and give me some feedback on what you'd like to see more of. But the familiar sight of Merckx and the Union Jack on the podium, and a familiar sight of lifting the biggest trophy of the day. The double from Merckx. Might be the first time he's done that with a sprint race day. Fantastic driving from our brilliant guys here. As Speedy Spud can't wait he says he can't wait to wait that back. I know he means watch, but that's quite funny. But unfortunately, Spud, I didn't actually catch the very death of your race. But a great performance nonetheless from our drivers. They battled adversity right to the end. Merckx with the win and the race win. Fastest lap went by way of Bjorn in 7th, but Merckx won ahead of Ricky Maru, and then Moist in 3rd place. Spud, a great 4th place from Spud in the underperforming Haas car, with Milan down in 5th, battling hard on the hard tyres in the end. ARL got home 6th, a good points for VCarb, with Bjorn down in 7th, +1 for the fastest lap. Floyd Pink in 8th. 9th was Marco, Triple Bay, Sticky, Chuck Norris, Davey Norris and Respond. Those guys not finishing in the end, but tremendous race for one and all. I hope you enjoyed that one. Do make sure that you stay tuned every week at this time to come on and enjoy the last 3 races of our Season 3. But from everyone at the International Racing League and from me, Webbo, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next race day.